Monogamy, the practice of mating with a single individual for an extended period of time, is essentially a myth in the animal kingdom. Only about 3% of mammals even attempt it, and while 95% of birds pair off, DNA tests have revealed that the avian world is secretly running a massive, scandalous cheating ring. I literally spend dozens of hours researching these bizarre evolutionary quirks, so hitting the like button goes a really long way. Let's look at the absolute worst offenders, the superb fairywren. For decades, ornithologists thought these tiny, vibrant Australian birds were the ultimate symbol of true love. They form lifelong bonds. Building tiny nests together, they forage for insects side by side. They even sing complex duets to defend their territory. If you watched a pair of them from dawn until dusk, you'd swear they were perfectly faithful. But that's only because you aren't watching them in the dark. In the late 1990s, scientists decided to run paternity tests on baby fairywrens. The results absolutely shattered our romantic notions of lovebirds. It turns out, an astonishing 75% are not related to the father who is raising them. To figure out how this massive deception was happening, researchers attached microscopic radio transmitters to the females. They discovered that fertile females were sneaking out of their nests in the pitch black. They were making pre-dawn flights into neighboring territories. These illicit trips only lasted about 15. But apparently, 15 minutes is more than enough time to get the job done. The females would quickly mate with a neighboring male, then sneak back home. She would arrive before sunrise, right before her social partner woke up. He would have absolutely no idea what just happened, and he would happily spend the rest of the season raising another bird's chick. But before you feel too bad for him, you should know he was likely sneaking out at night to mate with other females too. This is what biologists call social monogamy without sexual monogamy. You pair up to raise the kids, but you copulate with whoever you want on the side. And from an evolutionary standpoint, this makes complete, terrifying sense. For birds, pairing up is a mandatory survival strategy. Baby birds are completely helpless and require a massive amount of food and warmth. A single mother simply cannot forage enough insects to keep a whole nest alive. So males dramatically increase the chances of their offspring surviving if they stick around to lend a beak. But putting all of your genetic eggs in one basket is incredibly risky. What if a predator eats that specific nest? What if a disease wipes out those specific chicks? From the male's perspective, his best mathematical strategy is to maintain one primary nest, while slipping his genetic material into as many other nests as physically possible. What about the females? Why do they cheat? A female bird can only lay so many eggs in a single season. She can't increase the quantity of her offspring by sleeping around, but she can absolutely increase the quality. By mating with multiple males, she introduces immense genetic variety into her single nest. If her social partner happens to have a weak immune system, cheating ensures that at least some of her chicks will get stronger genes from a neighbor. It's the ultimate evolutionary insurance policy. And this widespread cheating isn't just limited to birds. Take the prairie vole, a small rodent famous for being one of the only monogamous mammals. Scientists used to write papers praising their unshakable family values. But recent DNA testing revealed that even female prairie voles cheat. When researchers map out the genetics of a vole colony, it looks like a giant, messy soap opera. This underlying reality of infidelity actually solves a major biological mystery. It explains the bizarre physical differences between males and females, even in species that pretend to be monogamous. In biology, the physical difference between sexes is called sexual dimorphism. In explicitly non-monogamous species, the rules of dimorphism are brutally simple. Take the southern elephant seal, for example. A single alpha male will fight bloody battles to control a harem of up to 50 females. Because the stakes are so high, evolution has pushed male elephant seals to become absolute monsters. They can weigh up to 8,000 pounds, which is 4 times larger than the females. The males are heavily armored and incredibly violent. The same rule applies to our close relatives, the gorillas. Silverback gorillas fight for exclusive mating rights over an entire clan of females. Because size wins fights, male gorillas have evolved to be twice as massive as female. Over thousands of generations, the traits that help a male win a fight become wildly pronounced. But what happens in a truly monogamous species, where there's no need to fight for a harem? Look at the gibbon, a small ape that lives in the rainforests of Southeast Asia. Gibbons are fiercely monogamous, mating for life and living in isolated nuclear families. Because every male gets exactly one female, there's no evolutionary pressure to be a giant brawler. As a result, male and female gibbons are the exact same size. You literally cannot tell them apart just by looking at their silhouettes. The size difference between sexes is a direct mathematical indicator of how much a species cheats. High dimorphism means high competition and harems. Zero dimorphism means absolute, perfect monogamy. Which brings us to the most interesting primate of all, Homo sapiens, us. There are undeniable physical differences between human males and females. Men are, on average, about 15 to 20% larger and heavier than women. This size gap is a massive clue about our evolutionary path. We are nowhere near as dimorphic as the harem-building gorillas, but we aren't completely equal in size like the perfectly monogamous gibbons either. Our physical blueprint lands us right in the messy middle. It strongly suggests that for millions of years, our ancestors lived in a state of serial monogamy. We form strong pair bonds to raise our highly demanding large-brained baby. But, much like the superb Fairywren, our evolutionary history is likely filled with infidelity. Our bodies literally show the scars of millions of years of mild sexual competition. So the next time you hear someone say that humans are naturally meant to mate for life, you can tell them that almost nothing in nature actually does. Out of the millions of species on Earth, absolute sexual fidelity is a statistical anomaly. But if you are a hopeless romantic, don't despair just yet. There is at least one known example of perfect lifelong fidelity in the animal kingdom. Its name is Diplozoon paradoxum. It is a microscopic, parasitic flatworm. When two of these young flatworms find each other in the wild, they decide that they never ever want to be apart. They attach to each other and undergo a bizarre physical transformation. Their bodies literally melt and fuse together. Their tissues intertwine until they form what looks like a single cross-shaped organism. They share a bloodstream, and this adultery-free union lasts for their entire lives. It is the most perfect inseparable romance in the biological world, which they spend together happily sucking blood from the gills of a fish.